going to the second chapter in your 10th class biology, that is respiration. Okay, from your childhood onwards you heard the word respiration. In your 10th class you are going to know more about respiration. The respiration is one of the energy producing system, energy releasing system. By listening this, you may get doubt. In the first chapter, we discussed about nutrition. Nutrition. What is nutrition? By intaking of food, what happens? We get energy. We discussed about that. But in this chapter, by the addition of oxygen to the food, the energy may release in our body. Okay. Then what is respiration? What is the definition of respiration? Everything we will discuss in this chapter. See here children, the process of releasing energy. The process of releasing energy from food. Where does we are getting energy from the food is called respiration. The process of releasing energy from food is called as respiration. Then what is the relation between the energy and respiration? Whenever the food adds to the oxygen, whenever oxygen adds to the food, it releases energy. Oxygen burns the food and it releases energy. See here, the process of respiration involves taking in oxygen, and we also know that respiration, it indicates taking in oxygen and releasing out carbon dioxide. Is it right? Taking in oxygen into the cells. Where does we are taking oxygen into our body? Cells. Using it after receiving oxygen, we just using the oxygen inside our cells. Okay, for releasing energy, whenever we intake oxygen, it just adds to the food and it releases energy by burning food. What it is doing, oxygen inside our body cells, it just burning the food substances and it may release some amount of energy and then eliminating the waste. It is releasing energy and it is also eliminating waste materials of the respiration. What are that? Carbon dioxide and water from our body. I think you get idea on respiration. What is respiration? The process of releasing energy from food is called respiration. Here through our body, what we are doing, we just intaking oxygen. After that we just adding, our body cells just adds with oxygen and the oxygen may burn food present inside the cell and it may produce energy. While the process is going on, it may eliminate the waste materials which may secreted in the same process. Those are carbon dioxide and water. Okay. Then what is the meaning of the word respiration? A respiration comes from a Latin word which is respire. Okay. From which word it came? From a word called as respire. Okay. It comes from a Latin word respire. What is meant by respire? Respire means to breathe. In Latin, respire means to breathe. Respire is a Latin word which means that to breathe. Okay, in the 14th century, most of the people in ancient days, they don't know about respiration. And they use the word respiration as a medical term. And the people, they just, whenever they heard the word respiration, and they may think it just like breathing. It is also the another word of breathing, but it is not correct. Oh, breathing is entirely different from respiration. Here breathing is one of the steps in the respiration. What is meant by breathing? The inhalation and exhalation of air is called as breathing. What is meant by respiration? The process of releasing energy from food is called as energy producing system, only respiration. Okay. But in 14th century, most of the scientists and the people, they don't know about the facts of respiration. And they use the respiration as a medical term, which means whenever we inhale the air, it just produces body heat. Okay, whenever a person takes in air, then the body temperature may produce, they thought like that. After, in the 18th century, by the comprehensive work of two scientists named as Lavoisier and Joseph Priestley. Lavoisier and Joseph Priestley, they conducted many series of experiments and they did comprehensive work on respiration. You already studied about different experiments done by Priestley. Is it right? In your 7th class, 6th class, you already studied. In your physics, chemistry also you studied about different experiments done by Priestley. And in your 10th class, we are going to discuss about the experiment which was conducted by another scientist, Lavoisier. Okay. Lavoisier, he conducted series of experiments to know about the facts of respiration. For his experiments, he took a bell jar. You people are well familiar with the bell jar, which is very transparent. And he also take one tub. He filled the tub with water and inside the bell jar, he started burning charcoal. Solid charcoal or charcoal powder. Whenever he started the process of burning charcoal, then it leads to the production of a gas, and he named to that gas as fixed gas. And in those days, the people don't know the term carbon dioxide. That's why they call that gas as fixed gas. I think you understand. Fixed gas is nothing but carbon dioxide. And this fixed gas also called as chalky acid gas. Chalky acid gas, fixed gas, both are other names of carbon dioxide. Is it clear, children? Then whenever he burned the charcoal powder inside the bell jar, it just produces fixed air inside the bell jar. And he also took another bell jar which is kept as like the first operators, and instead of taking charcoal powder, here he took phosphorus instead of charcoal powder. In the second series of experiment, what he took? He took phosphorus. Okay, whenever he burned the phosphorus, there is no production of any gas inside the bell jar. He didn't observe the production of fixed gas or chalky acid gas. There is no production of chalky acid gas in this second series of experiment. Okay. Whenever he burned the phosphorus, he identified that the respirable part of the air used up while the phosphorus is burning. And we all know that what is the respirable part of the air? Yes, the respirable part of the air is oxygen. Is it right? But during those days, Lavoisier don't know the name of oxygen. That's why he called that important portion of the air as a respirable part of the air. Okay. Whenever the phosphorus started burning, it just using the respirable part of the air. Later, he studied the air which is present inside this bell jar, first bell jar, and he also studied the air present inside the second bell jar also. And finally, he concluded that by the experiments, the result what he was telling is the air which is present here and here he called as vitiated air. Okay, what is meant by vitiated air? After this experiment, he started the studying of air which is present inside the bell jar. and that bell jar, it contains vitiated air. What is vitiated air? He also give definition for vitiated air. See here, the air which does not contains respirable portion of the air. Respirable part of the air. The air which is not containing oxygen. Here respirable part means oxygen. The air which is free of oxygen is called as vitiated air. Here by burning the phosphorus, the respirable part of the air is used up. By burning charcoal, the respirable part of the air used up. And here in the bell jar, it contains the vitiated air, and this bell jar also contains vitiated air. Is it right? And whenever he started testing the vitiated air, he find that the vitiated air itself contains 1/6 portion of chalky acid gas. The vitiated air, what it contains? It contains 1/6 portion of fixed air. What is meant by fixed air? Carbon dioxide. Okay, is it clear, children? The vitiated air, it contains with all the gases, it also contains 1/6 portion of fixed gas. If you want to make this vitiated air into normal air, then you have to follow two methods. What are that? You have to involve two processes. What are that? First, we have to remove this 1/6 portion of fixed air. Later, what we have to do? We just add the respirable part of the air to this vitiated air, because the vitiated air, it does not contain the respirable part of the air, and it contains more amounts of fixed air. That's why if you want to make this vitiated air into normal air, what we have to do? First, we have to remove the fixed air present in the vitiated air. Later, we have to add the respirable part of the air to this vitiated air. Then this vitiated air converts into normal air. Normal air, as it is containing the important portion of the air. What is the important portion of the air? Oxygen. If we use the air for burning process, then the oxygen present in the air, it just used up for the burning process. Okay, that's why whenever we find vitiated air, if you want to make that vitiated air into normal air, we have to do two processes. That is elimination of this fixed air and adding of oxygen, or not oxygen, important portion of the air or respirable part of the air. Is it clear? Then he also proved that whenever the air enter into our body, whenever the air enter into our body by the help of our nostrils, the important portion of the air or the respirable part of the air will be absorbed by our lungs. He concluded that the respirable part of the air, it just taken up by our lungs or absorbed by our lungs. And he also thought that the red color of the blood is also due to the respirable part of the air. But it was proved that it is wrong. Our blood itself, it contains a pigment called as hemoglobin. Because of the presence of hemoglobin, the red color of the blood appears in red color. Is it clear? But he thought that whenever a respirable part added to the blood, then it turns into red. That is his imagination and his hypothesis. In that he was failed, but remaining all aspects are correct. Is it right, children? Whenever the air enter into our body, our lungs, what they are doing? They just absorbing the respirable part of the air, and they are eliminating the fixed air which is produced by different cells of our body. That's why the exhaled air, it contains more the same amount of oxygen present while we are inhaling the air. While we are inhaling the air may contain oxygen. But while we are exhaling the air does not contain oxygen. Instead of that oxygen, it is fulfilled by another gas called as fixed air or carbon dioxide. This is the conclusion of Lavoisier by conducting this series of experiments. Are you able to understand what I am telling? Yes. By these two series of experiments, he concluded that he gave one hypothesis. What is that? Whenever the important portion of the air added to enter into our body, then our blood may turns into red. But it was proved that wrong. Many scientists, they observed that the blood always appears red in color because of a presence of a pigment called as hemoglobin, not by adding oxygen. And he also concluded that what is vitiated air, the definition of vitiated air, everything is given by Lavoisier. What is meant by vitiated air? The air which does not containing the important portion of the air or respirable part of the air is called as vitiated air. If you want to make the vitiated air as normal air, what we have to do? We just remove the fixed air from that vitiated air and we have to add a respirable part of the air. And he also stated that whenever air enters into our body, the important portion of the air used up by our lungs, it just absorbs the oxygen and it just eliminates the carbon dioxide. He proved that. After his experiment, many scientists, they started many hypotheses and many scientists, they succeed in their experiment by the hypothesis of Lavoisier. By his experiment, he gave a milestone to all the scientists about respiration. This is about the introduction of respiration. I will meet you in the next part of respiration. Till then, keep learning and stay curious. Thank you.